What is responsible, sir, that after 15 years of dealing with this monster of insecurity, why are we still talking about this in this country?
The denial of the police was to facilitate the jihadi terrorists to arrive at their destination.
To escape?
Yes, before anything could happen.
These are weighty allegations.
They are very, very weighty, and I will want the police to come out and say no. Then I will ask them 2 questions. If they provide the answers, I will know. Let me tell you, the police have formation everywhere. Even where these people were abducted, there's a local police outpost there. So the police knew when the attacking was going on. Because the police officer there would have run to a place and called and said, this is what is happening. Did you know? I don't know whether you have listened to the defense of the police why they denied. They said they denied because they didn't want it to create a panic. Panic that was already escalated. You didn't want it.
Let us focus on Amechi. Does Amechi stand? Because people underrate Rotimi Amechi.
If these aspirants are not careful, they are into a very big surprise with Rotimi Amechi, because I'm aware of what he is doing underground. The defection of Fubara to APC is the greatest political strategy in contemporary time that political science students...
Was a masterstroke.
Yes. That dealt a devastating blow on the arrogance, political arrogance of my good friend, Nelson Wike. The carpet has been removed under his feet. Already, Wike is descending into the abyss.
Into the abyss?
Yes, political abyss. I'm going to give you indices.
Let's get right into our conversation. We have quite a lot to cover. Just yesterday, I think, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, made a statement to the effect that it will be suicidal for anyone to compete against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. What do you say to this?
Yeah, I think he's been economical with the truth, or rather he applies the truth negatively. What he meant was that it will be suicidal for anybody to imagine that Tinubu will win 2027. That's exactly what he's saying. Because every political indices on the ground pointed clearly that Tinubu is even not in the contest. It has even been compounded by this political abnormality, defections of almost all the governors with their commissioners, while the people are not defecting. Then endorsement. Tinubu has been endorsed by everybody except the opposition element. And if Tinubu had not been endorsed by hunger, he has not been endorsed by poverty, he has not been endorsed by insecurity, then Tinubu has gone as a president.
Are you serious? That what VP Shettima meant with his statement was that, Tinubu has no chances in 2027. Is that what you're saying?
You know, Shettima is trying to cover up something underneath.
Which is?
There is this very serious search for his replacement. And so, he too is planning very, very hard to manage the situation, how he will respond. And therefore, that statement he made was an evasive statement, distraction, to take our attention from the actual war going on inside their camp. Because 3 or 4 names of Christians have been penciled down to succeed him. And the Northeast has read the Riot Act that an attempt to substitute Shettima is as good as the threat of President Trump to attack Iran. So, Shettima is only just being evasive and economical with the truth. But there's no hope for them in 2027, because how will they deal with these issues?
you said there is a plan to drop VP Shetima, and there are 4 names or so being.
Yeah.
Can you give us shed more light? By the way, you're not a member of the APC, so how do you know this?
Yeah, you see, we in the opposition, we are more in APC than APC people. As much as they think they have planted people in the ADC or the opposition political parties, we have more political Mossad in
Mossad.
Yes, political Mossad in APC that pick intelligence at the highest level of what is going on. So we know them more than they think they know us. So far, so good. About 3 to 4 names of Christians have been penciled.
Such as
Dogara,
Yakubu
Dogara, former speaker, Bishop Koka.
Matthew Hassan Kuka.
Yes, Matthew Hassan Koka, General Musa, Christopher Musa.
That's
the former CDS.
Who is the Minister for Defense now?
Defense now. And George Akume.
Okay, SGF.
The current SGF. Now, there is serious permutation going on. This idea of replacing Shetima is to try to please the Americans. Because one of the major grudges of the American president is the Muslim ticket. And President Tinubu has realized that he can't sustain it. More so that the Americans have embarked on strategic or guided airstrikes in Nigeria. And any student of history knows that there is no country in the world where American strike took place and the regime survived. Historically. Go and review it. So, for the Americans to have embarked on strategic strikes in Nigeria and threatening to do more, the intention is simple. They are accusing the regime of failing to perform its primary responsibilities. So, they embark on this strike looking as if they are orchestrating. But the intention, the hidden agenda behind it is that they will always look for the compensation of their bombs that they drop. And your minerals will have to pay for it heavily. That's why an operation to kidnap a president in Venezuela, the country's oil, had started responding for that.
Brilliant. Well, I know the APC would watch this and they would give appropriate response, to your claim, very damning claim that, VP Shetima is likely to be dropped and there are 4 names and they actually give us names. But let's switch gears, Anyway, I think more in line with even this train of conversation, Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed, incidentally, was a special advisor to the president, although in the office of the vice president. In a recent Channels television interview, even this morning on Arise, and he was saying that there will be disintegration of the African Democratic Congress, your party, and the leading opposition party currently, since the PDP has almost, disappeared. That if Peter Obi does not clinch the presidential ticket, and if Atiku Abubakar wins, the ADC will disintegrate. What do you have to say to this?
Sometimes when I listen to people who are Democrats speaks the way he spoke, I get scared about our democracy. Democracy is about the will of the people. Akim Baba Ahmed is not a member of the ADC. But he is trying to dictate what will happen in the ADC. And he's a Democrat. Is he now saying that the ADC, which emerged as a result of the failure of leadership and democracy in Nigeria will now embark on anti-democratic methods to produce candidates, then why are they challenging the status quo? Secondly, Peter Obi is a member of the party. He had not even officially declared his presidential ambition.
Peter Obi?
Yes, he has not declared. So, neither Atiku himself, they have all not declared that the contested election in 2023 is not conclusive that they are automatically candidates. There is a process which Akim Baba is very familiar with. Even though I'm older than him in politics, because he retired from the public service to come and join politics. And I joined politics in November 1978 when I was in secondary school in Form 2. When I started following my late boss, Chief Lar. And I was with him until he died. We were together for 43 years. So it is just the dangerous speculation for senior citizens to create national panic.
What would be the motive? What do you think could be the motive for Baba Ahmed? Because like I said, it was on channels. This morning, it was on Arise. Could there be any hidden, motive for going around to spread this, information?
Well, he has just left the office of the vice president. And we don't know why he resigned. So, in politics, like I said, we have our spies in APC working for us. It could be one of them who has just resigned to create an impression as if he's quarreling with them so that he can earn the public confidence and then be able to do the undertaker's job. And otherwise, he is a statesman that statements coming from his mouth should be encouraging.
The political space currently in Nigeria has been shrinking gradually since 2023 elections, to the point where you don't even know the status of almost all the opposition political parties. And as we speak here, Nigeria is being described, by informed citizens as almost a near, one-party state. Is this correct? And what could be responsible for this?
One-party elite state. It's an elitistic party state, that is one. But you see, the situation in Nigeria today, there are two political camps. Okay. We versus them. Hunger versus those who are living in abundance. 2027.
For you are not hungry, sir?
No, I'm not hungry, but many are hungry. Yes, those who identified with those who are hungry are not because they're hungry, but they feel that if things are generally good, everybody will live happy. So, 2027 basically is about the people versus APC and Tinubu. Now, the opposition political parties, you see them, because we practice partisan politics. So they are only offering platforms for those whom, because Tinubu is trying to destroy all the platforms so that there will be only one. But patriotic elements who are smarter than him are preserving platforms here and there. In fact, there are alternative platforms which he might not succeed in going through to destroy them before the election. But for the opposition, it is we versus them. And this we versus them every day is building up. If you take a walk into our communities and just discuss with the common people, you will confirm this thing I'm telling you. And then go and look at this organized defection of governors who will monitor those who are resigning. There has been any community that has resigned to follow the governor. It is only appointed officials resigning. What of the people that elected them? So it means the votes are left behind. And this creation of this scenario is the most dangerous thing for our democracy, because in 2027, there will be a tsunami. So many people with integrity will win election on political parties that APC did not give attention. And APC has been overwhelmed by arrogance and pride. If you listen to this, their amateur national chairman, when he was speaking.
That's your fellow plateau man. Why do you call
him? No, but we're not talking about identity now. We're talking about his capacity.
But I thought you want to speak well of your king.
Yeah, but if I speak well of him, will I also invent a capacity for him? I will not.
So you don't think he's...
No.
He's not doing that?
No, he's an amateur, because there is no national chairman that makes such speech. When you listen to him, he's saying anybody who do not come and join us and work for us now, we are not going to allow him to be appointed. Who told him that they will win? He himself has not even won election. He was nominated. He's a nominated chairman. He should wait for the national convention whether he will win election. But you look at the arrogance, you look at the pride, speaking to Nigerians as if they are conquered people. I mean, we are servants of the people. We owe the people a lot of respect. We are who we are by the virtue of their votes. Let us not, demean them to that status which this is uncalled for. All these people jumping now and making all these dirty noises were those who accused me of betraying Christ. These same people. The Mudfangs, the Nentaways, betraying Jesus Christ. And that for associating with Buhari, we intend to Islamize Nigeria. This same set of people. I was so isolated in 2013, 2014, 2015 in Jos, to the extent that nobody comes to my house. Even if I have nothing to eat, nobody. In fact, if you were looking for a devil, Solomon Dalung was a devil. By this same set of people. They carried the cross of Jesus Christ and the name of Jesus Christ. Today I have not said anything because I'm watching with unprecedented amazement what is unfolding. But for the defection of Mudfang, he has little knowledge of Plateau people. Plateau people are very, very difficult people. They are very conservative. In the First Republic, they did the UMBC. In the Second Republic, they did the NPP.
ANPP?
No, NPP.
NPP, that's...
Nigerian People's Party.
Azikwe.
And even the Hausas in the Jos, they are also renegade political elements. In the First Republic, they did NEPO. In the Second Republic, when Plateau was doing NPP, they were doing NPN. That's a history. It is only in 1999 that they founded a party called PDP. Because PDP was founded in Jos by the Plateau people. Chief Solomon La. So, their allegiance to PDP is like their political heritage, because when they look back at their legends, political legends, they remembered their efforts and commitment to this country. So they held on to PDP. Darie attempted this thing Mudfang did. When, as a sitting governor, he came to SCN. And the Plateau people disgraced him woefully until he came back and joined the PDP. So Mudfang has already knew the results of his election. The campaign in 2023 was religion. The common people of Plateau, majority who are not dedicated, were told that the APC, which is the son of the broom, is the party of the devil. So you will need Angel Gabriel to hold the broom to change that line of thinking, which the same Mutfwang and his group used in 2023. To compound his situation, Governor Jang, who brought him, who even got the ticket for him, and his political godfather refused to come to APC. The last tragedy of Mutfwang's defection is that Mutfwang was campaigning, and when he won, he told Plateau people that it was God in heaven that gave him power. Indeed, God did. Now, this same God that gave Mutfwang power, the God is dead. Mutfwang now is looking for power from Imiloko. What a tragedy. You know, I'm not a Christian. I've told you this so many times. I'm a believer. You know, Christians are full of comedy. They do a lot of activities, comedy and drama.
That would not be a right statement to make. That would not be right.
No, it is. So but we believers, you know, we believers live by the dictates of the Holy Scripture. This is the big difference.
Okay.
Yes. So, it's sad that Mutfwang today, who told us to believe in God because God gave him power, is now abandoning God to go and seek for power.
Comrade, sir.
I'm coming. I just want to conclude this. Yes. To go and seek for power from a human being. In the Bible, there was a king who sent his servant to go to Samaria and ask whether he was going to live because he was sick. And on his way, God sent Prophet Nathan to go and ambush the servant and tell him that he should go back and tell the king that for abandoning the living God in Jerusalem and going to seek for an idol in Samaria, you will surely die. For Mutfwang to leave the living God in Jos, to go and seek for the chief priest of a miracle in Lagos, he will surely die politically.
In summary, if I got just to summarize what you said, so Governor Caleb Mutfwang has buried his political, destiny, his political future, second term, by the campaign to the APC. Complete. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm sure the people of Plateau State would have a lot to say about this. Let's dig deeper into this conversation. The state of democracy in Nigeria, Comrade Minister, the state of democracy generally in Nigeria, how do you assess it? Are we even practicing democracy? That's one. Then a rider to that, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, about 3 years now, he's been in office. How do you assess him on the state of the economy, anti-corruption, and especially insecurity?
You see, the state of democracy in Nigeria is pathetic.
Pathetic.
And many, like me, are also wondering whether we are practicing democracy or civil rule. Because democracy is built on the rule of law, representation, periodic elections, guarantee of the rights of the citizens, and then the welfare and the well-being of the citizens. All these indices are in red.
Deficit.
They are in red. Meaning there is nothing democratic about what we are talking about. Now, when you come to now major, because development now, which you have referred to, the economy, security, anti-corruption. The economy is in shambles. Even though the Imiloko economists have been shouting that the economy is stable. The stability of the economy is measured by the living condition of the people. Because the stability of the economy must reflect in the living condition of the people. It would also have to reflect on inflation index. All these ones are in red. When you come to insecurity, after the airstrike by Americans. We thought that we were going to have some respite. But as it is, in fact, subsequent atrocities perpetrated by the terrorists are worse than the situation we were before the attack, with the airstrike by the Americans. Because before the airstrike, it was kidnapping of people into the forest. But in Niger State, Kaswandaji, the terrorists attacked a market and slaughtered 61 people like animals. It was after the American airstrike. Last Sunday, the terrorists conducted abduction of Christians in their churches in a majestical manner, where they demonstrated that they were in control of even the security of this country, because they walked into 3 different churches at different times. And we thought that a country that has given its citizens hope that security has improved should have been able, with the first attack on the church, to take precautions and protect the remaining churches. But these terrorists went one after the other and abducted a sum total now which is being contested of 177. The police, to tell you how state conspiracy in this criminality, the police denied at the first instance in Kaduna that nothing happened. So if the police did not know that Christians were abducted in the church, who will know? What happens to their intelligence? But the attitude of the police is the same complicity of the state in the protection of citizens. Now, when pressure mounted on them, they shoved shame to the side and admitted, but started disputing figures. This again is a confirmation of their complicity. They admitted that it took place, but they started disputing figures, and finally they admitted the figures. So, with this that I have said, we are living in a failed state where anarchy rules supreme. In Kano, a young man took a machete, went to a house, and killed 6 people, a woman and her 6 children. They are neighbors. Worse is to have said he would have killed 1 or 2, and there would have been intervention. But he killed 6.
Let me ask you, sorry to interrupt you. The inability of security agencies, I'm not just referring to the police now, the military establishment. Kaduna State has the highest concentration of military formation
Yes.
in the entire country.
Yeah.
Now, Kaduna State has been the epicenter of various insecurity challenges, especially under former Governor Nasir El-Rufai. So you would expect that, and then the minister, the former chief of defense staff, who is incidentally the current minister for defense, is a citizen of Southern Kaduna, a born, citizen of Southern Kaduna. How is it possible, sir, that we have the DSS, we have the NIA, the DIA, military intelligence, and all of that? Yet, just like you said now, terrorists have the nerve, the temerity to go into this locality, conduct abduction in a church, move from there to another church, move from there to another church. This, operation spanned hours. And yet, the shocker to Nigerians is that the police denied it, that such happened for days, until the people of the place, the leaders of the place, now printed out the names. The only thing they did not do was put the pictures. I'm sure if they gave them time, they will put pictures. That was when the Nigerian police now did a volte-face, an about turn. What is responsible, sir, that after 15 years of dealing with this monster of insecurity, why are we still talking about this in this country?
The denial of the police was to facilitate the jihadi terrorists to arrive at their destination.
To escape?
Yes, before anything could happen.
These are weighty allegations.
They are very, very weighty, and I will want the police to come out and say no. Then I will ask them 2 questions. If they provide the answers, I will know. So, they are weighty, but their denial was to facilitate the escape of the criminals with these abducted people. Let me tell you, the police have formation everywhere. Even where these people were abducted, there's a local police outpost there. So the police knew when the attacking was going on. Because the police officer there would have run to a place and called and said, this is what is happening. Did you know, I don't know whether you have listened to the defense of the police why they denied. They said they denied because they didn't want it to create a panic. Panic that was already escalated. You didn't want it.
Another version says they denied because there were conflicting reports. So they were not sure whether the people were saying the truth.
But who was supposed to tell us the truth?
Exactly.
Now back to the issue. I will only answer you with what Abacha said. If insurgency persists for 48 hours, the state is involved.
To what intent and purpose?
Political. You see, the politicians are afraid of demography. The North, whether we like it or not, until you travel to the North, you will tell yourself that the truth lies here. The numbers are there. So these numbers have been neglected. They have been betrayed, especially with the Muslim ticket. Because they came out, defended the Muslim ticket just for them to be betrayed. And northern politicians and the president knew the capacity. They knew how these people are so bitter. And they knew how difficult it is to convince them. And they are not willing to even do anything. So the only thing is to allow insecurity to fester so that you don't have a stable and an organized community for elections. So during elections, it will be easy for results to be fabricated under mango trees on behalf of the people. Politicians do this. Yes, if you listen to what Mantu said, because one of the best politicians who is in heaven with God now is Ibrahim Mantu at best, because he was able to confess on a national television channels of his political crimes and how they manipulated election before God called him. So he's a candidate, he is destined to eternity. So we know how these things are. This was the same advice they gave President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015, and it consumed him. Not to give insecurity, a good attention. But let me tell you something. The Nigerian military remains the best in Africa. And I'm going to tell you something that will shock you and shock Nigerians. If you like, disarmed the entire Nigerian military, about 350,000, disarm them and ask them to face Bello Turji. They will root them out and sack them. Our soldiers are very courageous people. But a soldier works with a command. The madness in a soldier is a command. He's very friendly. The moment you say, go or advance, you will see what will happen. That political will to deal with insecurity by the commander-in-chief is not there.
Sad. That's quite sad. Because we thought after President Buhari, with the coming of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the narrative would change, but it would seem to actually have gotten worse. Let's switch gears, comrade. Still focusing on the state of democracy. In your opinion, sir, who or what is the single biggest threat to our democracy, even if we use that word democracy advisedly, because there's a general consensus amongst enlightened Nigerians, this is definitely not democracy. But the question is, who or what is the single biggest threat to the survival of this democratic experiment? Is it the legislature, the executive, or the judiciary?
Both.
When you mean both, you mean all of them?
All of them. You see, the principles of checks and balance is the safeguard of the survival of democracy. Now, the executive is supposed to implement laws. The only democratic institution is the legislature, because that is where the voices of the people have been surmised into constituencies. Now, they serve as a check on the judiciary and
Well, particularly the executive.
the executive. They have influence of check because judgments of the court can be amended. Once a judgment is given and a law is made to amend the judgment, that judgment becomes invalid. So, but these three institutions are in cohort because from their conduct, it's suggested that all of them are in agreement. Why did I say this? The Supreme Court gave one judgment, which Tinubu celebrated, that President Tinubu has the power to remove governors. And Tinubu celebrated in the case of
Rivers State.
Rivers State.
I was going to ask you, but since you're already on it.
And we also know as a fact that the Supreme Court in the case of Joshua Dade versus the Plateau State House of Assembly stated that the president has no authority to dissolve a democratically elected government because the government is elected just like he is. It's a political entity that exists on its own just like. So if they have in this new judgment, which means they've overruled themselves, certainly.
Let me ask you, comrade, what would make the Supreme Court to have given this, let me borrow the word of a constitutional lawyer, a professor of constitutional law, a friend of mine, while we were having this conversation, he said the judgment, he described it as being perverse, that is a perverse judgment. Because what it is tantamount to conferring on the president that is above the Constitution of Nigeria. Could the framers of our Constitution, however this 1999 Constitution has amended is imperfect, however imperfect it is, could, in their wildest imagination, the framers have envisaged a day that some people would gather together and interpret it to mean that they, the framers, conferred on an individual powers above the ground norm? What could make the judges, their lordships, in their wisdom, to have given that judgment? What?
Well, I also want to share the thought of that, my senior colleague, the professor of law, who said the judgment was perverse. But beyond that, the judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of the Rivers State has established monarchy. That judgment established monarchy. And that judgment annulled the Constitution. That's the import of that judgment. It annulled the Constitution. So all other things that they are doing, the legislature is doing, is abracadabra. The import of that judgment has coronated Tinubu as a maximum ruler in Nigeria. He can do and undo. The only thing he cannot do is he cannot change a man into a woman. That's the import of that judgment.
By this inference, by this statement, now the inference from my first question is that, because for it and take in America, Donald Trump with his, tyrannical excesses, he has a tendency to want to be a maximum ruler. But the only institution, as it were, standing between him and full-blown fascism has been the courts in America. Even lower courts, not even the Supreme Court. They've been, giving judgments to say, no, you can't do this, no, you can't deport American citizens to Venezuela or to El Salvador and all of that. They've been saying, no, you can't impose tariffs, no, you can't do this. Lower courts in America, circuit courts, not even Supreme Court. But here, just like you said now, I asked you again, comrade, and this is, scary for me, a lover of democracy. It's not perfect, but it approximates the best form of government that man has invented. What would have made the lordships to have come up with that judgment? Comrade, why?
Since the judgment of His Lordship on this matter.
Their lordships.
Yes. I have been as confused as to what was the ratio decidendi of this case. What has changed from the case of Darie, the case of Ladoja Ibadan, and Fayoshe? Yes, what has changed? Because, of course, after some time, the Supreme Court can overrule itself, yes, and change the principle to bring it in conformity, with social realities or political realities. What has changed? Worse still, in the case of Rivers, the president exhibited the worst tyranny, an attack on the Constitution, because the Constitution requires him to make a pronouncement of a state of emergency, sent the Gazette to the National Assembly to be rectified in 48 hours. After the rectification, he will now appoint a sole administrator. Now, the appointment of a sole administrator had hitherto by the Supreme Court referred to as unlawful. So, state of emergency by our constitutional provision means the president will gazette steps he is going to take to deal with the extraordinary situation. And this may include deployment of the military. The democratic institutions will exist concurrently, but security will be taken over from the government and handed over to the military man. The president is going to be appointed to handle the military. But in this case, the president made a pronouncement. The Gazette has not even been sent to the National Assembly. In a cubicle in his office, he saw in a sole administrator and sent him to Rivers. These attacks on the constitutional provision, the procedure, would have offended the thoughts of His Lordships. But till date, the wisdom of His Lordship in coronating a monarch for Nigeria, up till now, I will wait for them maybe in subsequent decision, whether they are going to explain themselves. But for now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the maximum authority. He's a king. He can declare a Nigerian a non-Nigerian by the import of the decision of the Supreme Court of Nigeria in the case of Rivers State, where it gave the president unfettered powers to remove and dismantle scattered elected institutions. In fact, we may wake up with the president, Ahmed Tinubu, dissolving the National Assembly. And he has the powers to do it.
Because, so that's a very far-reaching decision they took.
I'm telling you that our democracy had come under compromise. It's not a threat now.
But let's switch gears from that.
No, but the National Assembly has not pretended. The Nigerian National Assembly,
This current one.
yes, this 10th National Assembly, had not pretended
From the inception.
from day one that they are not in the armpit of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They are in his pocket.
Wow.
And they are very proud of that. That's why once they see him in the National Assembly, they start singing. I've had a problem with so many people. But my own ears usually hear the song differently. But people say that was not what they used to sing. Because I used to hear them singing as if, on your dollar we shall stand. On your dollar we shall stand. They said that's not the song, but that's how I heard it. So this National Assembly, I don't want to discuss them because they have not pretended. They are anti the people. That was why they decided the Emergency Rule Gazette with a voice vote. It took 2 days, 48 hours, for them to approve the state of emergency. That's the National Assembly, the then National Assembly in Plateau. Every member of the National Assembly made a submission. That's the requirement of the law. But this one, they said, the eyes have it. Bam. Then I'm going to send you something in your account. No, I'm going to send email to you.
Comrade, let's make progress. We are running out of time. Let's come back to party politics. In your party, the ADC, there's been a lot of hue and cry about Mr. Peter Obi joining the ADC, as if he's the only one, because there are other people there. The names we have been hearing is former VP Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Peter Obi, but there is a Mr. Rotimi Amechi who also hasn't hidden his intention to vie for the presidency. Why is nobody talking about Mr. Rotimi Amechi? What are his chances? He's your former colleague in the Buhari cabinet. What are his chances?
I think because, yes, he contested the 2023 election under the APC.
The primary election.
Yeah, the primary election. And then when he lost, he went low. So whatever he's doing now, a lot of people are not focusing on him.
So does he stand a good chance in...
Amechi is doing a lot of things on the ground that people did not know. Amechi is doing a lot. You know, Peter Obi's issue and how it has generated this furore is because of his performance
in the last election.
Last election, and how he was able to galvanize and mobilize the young people.
Yes.
And so, anywhere he moves, history trailed him. And if you look at the investment of Tinubu's attack dogs, there is no day they will not call the name of Peter Obi if they do not call it 10 times in a day. Reno Amokri, if he doesn't call the name of Peter Obi every day, then you should know he's dead.
Let us focus on Amechi. Does Amechi stand? Because people underrate Rotimi Amechi.
But that's what I'm telling
because
you.
Amechi came second to Bola Ahmed Tinubu
No,
in the APC primaries 2023.
Amechi has.
Are people not? Are you guys not not you?
No.
Are Nigerians not underrating the emergence of a dark horse?
Amechi has sort of an aggressive.
Sorry to butt in. I see a scenario where Atiku and Peter Obi may cancel out each other, and a dark horse would emerge. And I have antecedents historically in Lagos State. You know, in 1993, if I'm not yes. Saromi, Dapo Saromi, Femi Agbalajobi,
yes.
and then Michael Otedola emerged because the other two cancel. So, if these two leading so-called candidates cancel out each other, Rotimi Amechi's chances would appear to be very bright. What do you think?
That's what I'm telling you, that to the best of my knowledge, he's working very hard on the ground. And this scenario you are painting is what not so many people in this country has averted their minds to. And because they have ignored him, they are giving him ample opportunity to reach out more than these people that they are promoting, building castle for them in the air. And I agree with you that if these aspirants are not careful, they are into a very big surprise with Rotimi Amechi. Of course, I agree, because I'm aware of what he is doing underground. I'm aware.
Brilliant. Are you comfortable with the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike? He's your friend, if I'm not mistaken. Assess the FCT minister's activities.
No, Wike is my very good friend. In fact, when he was a governor in Rivers State, I stood by him firmly for his second term, despite the fact that he was in PDP and I was in APC. But his political behaviors in 2023 till date has been nauseating. Already, Wike is descending into the abyss.
Into the abyss?
Yes, political abyss. I'm going to give you indices you look at. When he came in, there were gra-gra, demolition of people's houses, revoking everything, construction. I mean, they were lighting torchlight in the night, blocking road. Oh, Wike is walking. And then there was no beggars everywhere. I mean, all the motor parks, illegal motor parks, all were cleared. Now, all these things, if you leave today in the evening, go out, all have resumed in full swing in Abuja, begging everywhere. In fact, motor parks, illegal motor parks, in places where they have not attempted, they're everywhere. Keke napep that used to, they are all on the major highway now, competing. This is evidence that Wike
Has lost focus.
has lost focus and is distracted. Now, the statement from APC to him had sent signal that there's a serious crack in the wall, barren wall between him and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The defection of Fubara to APC is the greatest political strategy in contemporary time that political science students...
It was a masterstroke.
Yes, that dealt a devastating blow on the arrogance, political arrogance of my good friend, Nyesom Wike. The carpet has been removed under his feet. Now, this impeachment move that is going on is the nailing of his casket.
Political casket.
Political casket that will be lowered into the grave. And you may look for his name, even in the footnote of political history. Even Google will not have space for him. So unfortunately,
But how can he pull back from the brink? How can he redeem himself? One sentence, comrade. Is your very advice him? How does he pull back from the brink?
if he were to seek my advice, and with this huge experience of over 5 decades in politics, I would have advised him to go back and own Fubara as a son.
Yes. Call his boys to order and say,
Yes. And,
because he brought
and become
a father.
a father.
Indeed.
Once he do that, he's definitely going to come back. And he's not going to rise too soon. Because these political atrocities he committed, it will take time before it is cancelled. And so, he will redeem his image in Rivers. He will be part of the success story there. But as to whether he's going to be an undertaker for Tinubu again in 2027, that is a Herculean task. In fact, leaving him as a minister of the FCT, you will see it during the area council election. My late mentor, Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, said, and I quote, anybody who has seen you dance naked, no matter the offense he commit against you, don't allow him go away from you. So, Tinubu and Wike, the mistake he will make is to drop Wike. And keeping Wike as FCT minister is going to be at a huge political cost.
Okay. Let me ask you, because it escaped my mind. Rotimi Amechi, tell us, you are friends and you are in the cabinet together, like I said. What are his strengths? What exactly is he bringing, to the table that Nigerians need to know? Rotimi Amechi.
The Rotimi Amechi I know is somebody who has a strong character.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's visionary. But his problem is what he thinks he wants to have it done, which might not pass the litmus test of the democratic institutions. So I think that's where he needs to work on. But he's a man of strong political...
So if you compare him to President Tinubu, for instance, let's play scenario. Amechi picks the ADC presidential ticket and so is running against Tinubu. Who should Nigerians vote for? Who should Nigerians prefer between both of them?
No, the mere fact that Amechi is younger is already an advantage against Tinubu. The problem of elders becoming Nigerian president is that the cabal takes over the government. But a younger person, his memory is alert. He cannot send lists of ministers to the National Assembly and entrance it. It will be changed and he will not remember. Just like what happened with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. About 3 names in the National Assembly appeared without his knowledge. and in a madman's strike, they had to withdraw at that minute. It will never happen with a younger person.
We're rounding up now, but I would fail if I don't ask you. You're one of the major leaders in the Middle Belt that has suffered serious attacks from terrorist bandits, serious one. I mean, in fact, the Middle Belt has borne the heaviest, blow from all this. So now, the killings have been described as genocide, even by Governor Caleb Mutfwang and so many others, including myself. But somehow people are saying, no, it's not genocide, it's not this. Number one, do you agree it is genocide? Number two, do you agree with President Trump's airstrikes, ordering airstrikes in Sokoto? Very quickly.
No, the killings in
The Middle Belt.
Middle Belt has satisfied the legal requirement of genocide. And it's
Threshold, it has met.
No, it has met the legal requirement of the elements of a genocide. All has been fulfilled in the attacks. Because genocide is the targeted attacks of communities with the intention of wiping them on the face of the earth. That's genocide. And these attacks that targets communities, whether because of their ethnic identities, whether because of their faith, whether because of the land, is genocidal. So the Middle Belt has suffered for it. But it's not now. Historically, the Middle Belt has been paying the price of the Nigerian unity. During the Second World War, we sent the highest number of combatants who fought in the Second World War. During the Nigerian Civil War, we sent the highest number of men that lost their lives in the Civil War. During slavery, these are documented. 60% of the slaves taken from Nigeria were from the Middle Belt. So we have always been at the receiving end. And the reason is simple. We are nations of smaller communities. So it's easy to raid the communities and take our great men, just like it was done during the slave trade. So what is happening now is a replay of history. But unfortunately, lessons have not been learned because our ancestors, before the advent of colonialism, fought and defended themselves and even succeeded in repelling some of these attacks. But today, we have so many people with degrees, PhDs, masters, senior advocates of Nigeria, but they are all Bemites. They collect money and they shout Middle Belt today. Once they are given money, you don't hear anything again. So the unity of a purpose by our founding fathers and ancestors, who are not even educated, does not exist. All those going about shouting Middle Belt Forum, Middle Belt, they do that for personal interest, but they have not been able to unite the people to identify the threat against them.
As we round up finally, I know you alluded earlier, 2027, we have started already. I mean, elections, politics has begun full swing, high wire, high stakes politics. Who can stop President Bola Tinubu in 2027? What or who can stop him? One sentence, comrade. What or who can stop him?
I think you should have framed the question as how will President Bola Tinubu return to power in 2027? But as to stopping him, Tinubu has stopped himself.
Okay. How?
With his policies, with his security policies, and with his I don't care attitude. When Nigerians are suffering, he said, I have no regret. In the history of this country, there has been no Nigerian head of state or president that failed to show up at Remembrance Day. But Tinubu was lamenting in Europe. He abandoned an event where he, the head of state, has the constitutional right to perform. So Tinubu does not at all have chances of coming back. But in politics, miracle can happen. Absolutely. The man can change. The man can change.
He still has a long time.
Yes, he has a long time to change. Yes. He can even start engaging Nigerians. He can even begin to apologize. And Nigerians are very good people. Yes. They will say, give him another chance. Yes. But my prayer every day is for Tinubu to remain very notorious. Let him be assuming, his men are saying, Tinubu is a great tactician. So we keep deceiving him like that so that he will be jumping from France to Dubai. 2027, he will see you on the ground.
Thank you very much, Comrade Minister Solomon Dalung. Nice having you on the program.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Yes.